That's my thing, man. Strings of words. I'm a parrot.
Well, it finally happened. After 14 years, 145 episodes, and a surprisingly large amount of bear claws eaten, we have finally reached the final mission of the world's greatest secret agent. Yep, Archer has finally come to a close after the premiere of Into the Cold, and after spending 14 seasons with one of the most dysfunctional crews ever seen in a cartoon, I actually found myself getting a little misty-eyed, but you pass that around and Archer won't be the only one getting back shots.
Phrasing?
Anyway, Archer has been one of my favorite shows for a long time. I've seen the first 6 seasons more times than I can count, and I was even taught animation by the lead character designer of the first season. Shout out to my boy Professor Ellis. I've watched this show grow from a goofy spy sitcom to a beautifully animated series filled with characters that now mean the world to me. And I gotta say, I'm really gonna miss them. But as the curtain closed on the final episode, I thought of something. I wasn't really done with Archer yet. There was still some unfinished business I had left to take care of, and it wasn't finding a way inside the TV so me and Pam could. There were still some episodes I had to finish, and there was a reason for that. You see, after the finale of Season 7, we saw Archer, shot and presumably dead, floating in a pool. But when the next season rolled around, we found out that he wasn't dead, but merely in a coma. Even though, to be fair, he really should be dead, right? I know he jokes about being immortal, but at this point, it might be true.
Archer? Is he... Are you?
The man who cheated death?
Oh my God.
Anyway, rather than following the rest of the cast while Archer recovered, we instead took a look into Archer's subconscious and were whisked away into what will become the Dream seasons. Now, besides the first one, I had put off watching these, mostly because after that cliffhanger, I just wanted to get back to the main story. And now you got him playing Tailspin? It wasn't what I wanted, and a lot of people felt the same way. But just writing off these seasons as dumb wasn't really fair of me, and now that the show's over, I can't think of a better time to go back and revisit them. So join me as I go deep inside Archer.
Hey, phrasing!
I'm your host and secret double agent, D'Angelo Edwards, and today I'm taking my hat off to the Archer Dream seasons.
Well, then I don't know what to say. I am simply mortified. Please accept my apology. You're my first Negroes.
Let's start off with the only one I watched as it came out. The first of the Dream seasons was appropriately called Dreamland, and followed Archer as a private dick.
Slang for detective, so not an insult.
Which is funny since he's never been private about that, in more ways than one.
Wait. There's good cholesterol?
The season actually starts off a bit sad, since this was right after the passing of George Coe, the voice actor for Archer's faithful butler and torture victim, Woodhouse, and one of the best characters in the show. So in Archer's dream, instead of being his butler, Woodhouse is his partner that's murdered on the job. Now Archer has to track down his killer, and along the way, he gets tangled up in a world of crooked cops, mob bosses, Nazi cyborgs, and a quasi-incestual family of rich such elites.
How quasi?
I don't know, a 4?
I remember when I first watched this, I thought it was really good. And now that I've revisited it, I feel pretty much the same way. Archer Dreamland is a fun noir-styled imagining of the show we all know and love, with the same characters playing brand new fun roles, but still carrying the same spirit. Most of the changes are things you'd probably expect. Archer being the bumbling PI, Mallory the leader of a criminal empire, and Krieger being a former Nazi scientist. But some are a lot more interesting, like Cyril and Pam being the corrupt cops that are constantly getting in Archer's way. Pam's even a man in this version, and as always, she's one of the best parts of the show.
Are you shitting me?
Aw, I wouldn't shit you. You're my favorite turd.
What was especially interesting though, was how played straight this season was. Like, it still had that irreverent Archer humor. Cheryl or Carol, depending on the day, is just as chaotic as ever. And Lana tries to make an entire comedy set using only syphilis jokes.
Syphilis. Oh, hey, how about that Taft-Hartley act?
Show us your tits.
But underneath all that, things actually got pretty dark. Like how Archer in this world is actually a war veteran, suffering from PTSD. And the reason he's so good at fighting is because he's constantly flashing back to the days when his life was in constant danger. Krieger's story is especially interesting. As the show has often joked that he's possibly a clone of Hitler, Dreamland took it in a different direction. Here, he's actually a Jewish scientist that was tasked by the Nazis to create cyborg super soldiers. He pretends that they keep dying because of their bodies rejecting the metal, but he's actually been sabotaging them the whole time, not wanting to give the Nazis the upper hand. He's even rejected by the woman he loved when she finds out that he's a Jew. It's actually some pretty gripping stuff. In an interview for Variety, Adam Reed, the creator of Archer, said that he had originally pitched the season as a straight drama, and that FX laughed at him on the phone. After calling back and telling them that he was serious, they told him that people would just think the show wasn't funny enough, but Adam still tried to make it as serious as he could. Before he had begun writing the season, he was in an accident that injured his shoulder, and he claimed that he was in a dark place, almost getting addicted to painkillers. There's a part in Dreamland where Archer goes full hungry hippos on a bunch of different pills. And in the same interview, Reed says that's because of him. He said, "Oh my god, I'm spilling it all right out onto the keyboard." And yeah, you can feel it in the dialogue. While it all still feels like Archer, it is refreshing in the way that it just nails that 1940s noir aesthetic. Speaking of aesthetic, this season nails the look. The way the scenes are lit, the way the fight scenes are boarded, and man, some of the angles that they point the camera in, it all looks so good. If you ever go back and watch the earlier seasons of Archer, it is nuts to see how far the show has come in the visual department. And the crew on the show really put their all into making an authentic noir experience. Reed even joked while pitching the idea, "Hey, what if we forget everything that we're doing right now and give you something totally new that will take all new drawings and all new backgrounds and be really expensive to do?"
Money, you say?
No, like this.
Money.
Oh, yeah. Money.
They really wanted to avoid just putting Archer in a hat and calling it a day. If they were going to do this, they were going to do it right. And boy, did they do it right. But besides the gorgeous look of the season, they even found a way to mix the serious with the funny pretty well. Like, after Archer and Pam free a group of women from implied slavery, they all start living at Pam's house, and we frequently cut to Pam fantasizing about marrying all of them, which, let's be honest, that's a very Pam move to do.
Chang Puvi, Gong Puvi, Yang Puvi.
God damn it. I promised I wouldn't cry.
I also love how they do Barry in this show, making him a complete psychopath who spends his time melting people in barrels for his boss. After Archer runs over his feet, he's sent to Krieger where he becomes a crazy cyborg who is just devouring the scenery every time he shows up.
Feels pretty good, huh, Dutch? Yes, it does, other Dutch. Yes, it does.
There's honestly a lot to talk about with this season, but after rewatching, I do have a few criticisms. I think the PTSD angle they have with Archer is cool and interesting, but I feel like it needed to be dived into a little deeper. I would have loved if they had dedicated at least like half an episode to showing more of it, maybe an extended flashback or something, just to fully cement how Archer got the way he was. Also, the plot kind of loses its steam towards the end. There might have been a few too many things going on for it to end cleanly, but I don't think it ever drifts into the bad territory, just a little sloppy. Also, I wish Lana and Archer had a bit more time to interact, though seeing him so flustered around her when he's usually running verbal circles around her is a lot of fun.
Fancy meeting you here, huh?
At my job.
Yeah, I mean, what are the odds?
1-to-1?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. So,
Since this whole season takes place inside of Archer's mind, it might just be how he always feels around her. It's kinda cute. Also, they just never give Ray enough to do. I like Ray.
I am loving this marijuana cigarette!
And this is just a nitpick, but I would have loved to have seen this in black and white. But the strong moments definitely make this a season worth watching. I won't lie though, I was kind of expecting it to end like halfway through, with Archer waking up or even dying ending the show. But to my surprise, we never really left the dream world, though it did end with a touching tribute to George Coe. But as the credits rolled and another season was announced, I thought for sure that Archer's dream life had come to an end. Little did I know that it was just getting started.
Finally! Oysters!
Oh, fun fact, even though they serve those on oyster shells, they're actually human testicles.
Well, I mean, at this point.
Now we are officially in unknown territory. Like a lot of people, I was pretty sure that the dream season was going to be a one-time thing. You know, like voting or getting a prostate exam. So imagine my surprise when the next season was revealed to also be a dream season. And I remember being really disappointed. Like the last time I saw Archer, he was hanging by a thread. And now you got him doing his best Baloo impression? This isn't what I stole cable to watch. You think I can just undo breaking into my neighbor's house to watch Archer? That's time I can't get back. So I kinda just put it to the side. Not because I thought it would suck or anything, just because I wanted to get back to the characters I love. But now that I've gone around to watching it, it's actually not a bad time. Who would have guessed? Archer being good, crazy. While in my opinion, it's definitely a step down from Dreamland, it's still a fun little what-if story, just not as interesting as the first of the Dream seasons. This one is called Danger Island, and follows Archer's life as a seaboat captain, taking on an old-timey drama theme, more specifically, Tales of the Gold Monkey.
The hell was that?
Also, I forgot to mention it, but they also changed up the theme songs for these seasons to match the aesthetics, and it's one of my favorite parts. Archer's always had such a cool opening, so seeing it change to match the seasons was really cool. But we follow Captain Archer, along with his sidekick Pam, who in this version is super buff, and made me feel, well, let's just say feelings.
Baby wants mommy. Make it dirty.
He's also joined by Krieger, who in this world takes the form of a talking parrot.
I think he's just reacting to the music.
Thanks, you just defined dancing.
Shut up, bird.
And this power trio is one of the best parts of the season. 3 of my favorite characters spending time together. Yes, please, more of this. And while Pam is usually at the top of my list when it comes to faves, Krieger kinda steals the show as crackers.
She's crazy! I'm just trying to calm her down, you know, doing my thing, and then out of nowhere, the crazy broad grabs the gun and tries to shoot me! Me! Crackers!
He is delightfully manic, and without the opposable thumbs that he usually enjoys, some might say too much. Seeing him freak out and remain powerless is the funniest thing. The main plot of this season is a race to find the lost idol, one that could fetch a pretty high price for the right buyer, and it's not just Archer who wants it. On the hunt for the idol as well are Princess Lana Luakolani, the princess of the Mitimota, and her lover and secret Nazi agent Sigberg Fuchs. Now it's a race to claim the idol, and neither side wants to lose. Now before I get into what doesn't really work with this season, I do want to go over what I actually like, because there is actually quite a bit I liked in it. Like I mentioned before, the main trio is great together. I always loved how as the show went on, Pam went from the person Archer wanted to be around the least to literally his best friend. And this season really puts that to the test. The only problem though, is that while the usual Pam and Archer have a pretty good chemistry, I feel like this version of Archer is just too much of a dick to Pam. And while Danger Island does address this, I think if they toned him down a little, it would have made for a more enjoyable season. Another cool thing they do is the way they handle Cyril. He starts off as the usual bumbling dude, with Archer taking pot shots at him whenever possible, but as the season goes on, he becomes a lot more intimidating and crazy, becoming an actual threat as his Nazi heritage is revealed. Like, dude was actually like competent. In a way, this kind of acts like a foreshadow to the character he would be in season 11, though without the crazy Nazi stuff. Either way, Cyril is a ton of fun this season. There's also a really cool callback, with the season starting with Archer sleeping with Cheryl, who in this world is a newly married woman. This causes her to fall into a life of depravity, the same way how Archer sleeping with her in the first season was the start of her slip into madness. I might be reading a bit too much into it, but that's what it seemed like to me. Also, again, the show still looks gorgeous. They really went all out on the backgrounds in this one, and some of the action scenes had me on the edge of my seat. Really, no one does it like Floyd County Productions, such a talented team of artists. But where I think Danger Island falls short is that it's just not as interesting as Dreamland, and the plot that is there is stretched a little thin. It takes a while for things to get going, and while there are still funny jokes and action-packed scenes, I feel like they could have cut like 2 episodes and it would have tightened up the pacing a lot, because when it starts to drag, you really notice it. This might just come down to me preferring noir-styled stuff over serial drama-styled stuff, but I honestly think it feels a little slow. But unlike the end of Dreamland, which earlier I said lost steam, the end of Danger Island is really climactic. Every group is fighting over the idol, there's traps and puzzles galore, and Archer fights Cyril in a giant suit of robot armor. It's almost too much, but the part of my brain that craves pure adrenaline was very pleased. Man, who am I kidding? That's not part of my brain, that's the whole thing. And as the fight comes to its pinnacle, Archer actually ends up sacrificing himself to save Pam. And I know it's just a dream version, but seeing Archer die with no possible way to get out of it was crazy. But thematically, it makes sense for Archer. The dude is super dumb, super selfish, and sometimes it feels like the fact that he just might beef it on a mission is the only reason he gets out of bed.
Suicide is badass!
No.
But I always thought that if he was gonna go out, it would be to protect his friends. Because as much as he doesn't want to admit it, they all mean a lot to him. And having it be specifically Pam that he sacrifices himself for is just the cherry on top of a really sweet cake. But just because Danger Island Archer met his end, it doesn't mean we're at the end of the dream seasons. We still have one more to get through, and we will, right after this break.
Seriously, though. This whole place smells like a fart shit its pants.
Did somebody say pants?
Alright, one more to go through, and it is a doozy. Most people who know me know that I'm not really that into space stuff. So when I saw that Archer 1999 would be taking place in space, I was a little worried. But honestly, I had no reason to worry, because guys, this is hands down the best one. The characters feel like peak Archer, the stories are both fun and varied, and the animation is some of the best of the series. I really mean it. This is like one of my favorite seasons now, and I'll tell you why. Archer 1999 takes a different approach than the other two Dream seasons. Instead of having a main plotline, it instead goes for the usual Archer route, telling a new story every episode. And boy did I not know how much I missed this. Just seeing the gang get into wacky shenanigans, nearly dying every mission, that's the core of what makes Archer so great, and 1999 gets that. I feel like in this season, everyone gets a little time to shine, and all the new roles they take up as members of the space crew are cool. I especially love Cheryl as the fighter pilot that is so good at her job she's bored of it, and Pam as a giant rock alien with some unique Rachel qualities.
Right? I'm not gonna lie. I've got my species equivalent of a boner. Shut up, you can't smell it.
And like I said before, this thing looks insane. From the spatial dogfights to the hand-to-hand stuff, it is phenomenal. I saw bits of how it looked in a montage FX put out, and I was immediately excited to watch this season. Really is one of the best looking cartoons around. This is also the season where the dream stuff starts to get a little meta. As it goes on, Archer starts to see flashes of his old life. Characters start to shift back to their old looks, people start appearing out of nowhere, and the whole thing just feels like it's unraveling. And the whole time you're just thinking, it's coming, he's about to wake up. And when he finally does, you are treated to one of the sickest montages ever, going through Archer's entire history. I can't lie, dude. I love this season. It had everything you could ever ask for when it comes to Archer, and it never felt like it was dragging. I was either laughing or on the edge of my seat watching something rad, and while it wasn't as daring or innovative as the first two Dream seasons, Archer in 1999 instead chose to play to its strengths, and honestly, I think it's better off for it. And just when you think it's all over, you are treated to one of the sweetest scenes in all of Archer, with him waking up to the sight of his mother, who has basically been living at the hospital for 3 years, waiting for her son to wake up. And I won't lie, I started to tear up a bit. Does she kind of undercut it with a creepy line a few minutes later? Yeah, but it's still very sweet. And it was a perfect way to not only cap off the Dream seasons, but to introduce Archer back to the land of the living. I can say with full certainty that Archer 1999 wasn't just the best Dream season, it was one of the best seasons, period. And that was Archer, the coma years. A little late in the video for me to give them a new name, but deal with it. You got this far. I already got your money. But yeah, I have finally seen all of Archer, and as bittersweet as it is, I'm really glad that I did. I remember definitely thinking that Archer would seriously be dead after all of this. But Archer just isn't Archer unless he does what he wants. And until he says so, he was never gonna die. But I'm glad that I finally watched the Dream seasons. They had their pros and cons, but overall, I'd say they were a fun experiment. And now that you don't have to wait for the real Archer story to progress, they're a lot more approachable. They almost feel like backdoor pilots to what could be a slew of new Archer spin-offs. But even if we never get any more, Archer will always be one of my favorite shows of all time, and I will continue to feel both him and the rest of the cast deep inside of me.
God damn it!
What?
Why are we not doing phrasing?